call from an inmate at the New Hampshire Department of Corrections.
Hey, Jay.
Hi, Cynthia. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm okay.
You know, you're about to go back in court. You're about to fight your case in court again. How are you feeling about that?
I mean, I can't wait, but at the same time, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm scared to death. You know, I just hope that, the judge has an open mind and, and kind of pays attention to things. All we can do is wait and see.
The night we had to say goodbye to him, it replays in my head every day. Captain Morency was in there with Roland Lammy and Neil Scott, and he didn't even take the handcuffs off of Jason. The four of us huddled together, and he's trying to wrap, which he was a slender kid back then. I mean, nothing to him. He tried to wrap his shoulders the best he could around us, and he said, just behave for Mom and Dad. In literally 5 minutes, Roland Lammy took him by the upper arm, led him to another door to lead him out. I don't know where that door took him, and that was it. He was gone. Everybody in the community knew more than what his own siblings did. And it obviously hurts me and pains me to this day. I've spent roughly 25 years doing my own research on it, documenting word-for-word conversations the best I could, and I finally hit that brick wall to where I personally couldn't go any further with it. I needed the legal help.
When I first arrived at NEIP, there was a stack of cases on my desk that were all New Hampshire-based cases, and Jason's was the top case. I'm very used to looking through criminal cases, discovery transcripts, that's very normal. And I remember looking through Jason's case saying, no way, he's not gonna get convicted. I mean, I already knew that he was convicted because it was sitting on my desk, but looking through the case, I was like, there's no way a jury would convict on this evidence alone. And when I got to the end, I was like, shocked about it. It became quickly apparent that Jackie is essentially an expert on this case. Jackie sat me down, took me through all the work that she's done in this case, talked to me about all the different things that she's tried, the people that she had spoken to, the things that she's done to try and help Jason figure things out, dig deeper. So many of our applicants have nobody to fight and nobody to bring attention to their case and nobody to work on their case. And Jason had Jackie. Jackie is the heart and soul of the fight for Jason outside the walls.
When my oldest daughter Bailey and I handed everything I had over to the New England Innocence Project, it shook me really hard because that was mine, but very grateful that now we have a team coming. It literally gives Jason more hope. Even though being on that side of the fence, they try not to show it, try not to say it. It's given a lot of hope. It really has.
I've known Jason for about 15 years now. He is a kind, compassionate, selfless person. He is someone that you want in your corner. He is always trying to inspire you. He's always trying to get you to think.
He was very mum about a lot of stuff. He kept a lot of things, to himself, which is pretty, again, very natural for a lot of guys on the inside. They don't want to be vulnerable. it's heavy. It's a lot of weight. You know what I mean? I don't care who you are, how bad you are, how tough you are. It's something on the inside, you know what I mean, that takes a toll, that eats up at you. And I know he definitely was feeling it.
It was a daily struggle for him. People like Jason who are doing that amount of time, they have to find something every morning to be able to get their feet out of bed, to wake up and just go throughout the day in the living hellhole that you're waking up to. And Jay would find strength from thinking about beating his case and coming home to his family, yet it was the most draining thing to see it happen to him. And the only way I guess I could really articulate what it's like to fight a case would be the equivalent of like stepping into a ring with Floyd Mayweather with both your hands behind your back and you're blindfolded. And your hands are tied behind your back because you're dealing with every single stigma that society has of you about the fact that you're incarcerated. The prosecutors, they think that you're automatically guilty because you are inside. Your hands are just tied because you don't have access to the same resources that the institutions have to push against you. Your hands are tied because you don't have access to your support systems the way that you need to. You're blindfolded because you have no idea about the actual process that you're undergoing. You have to just trust that your lawyer or someone else is going to lead you to the victory that you're trying to get. That's what it's like to fight your case inside.
It's definitely a challenge because you're not afforded the same opportunities as those on the outside. You don't have the same resources. There's a law library, but that is a very used resource. So it's very limited as to how much time you can spend having access to the law library. And also, if you're not a legal beagle, as they say in prison, then it's even that much more of a challenge to understand the language.
Jason was convicted solely on the basis of a coerced confession. One of the troopers said that it was one of the most intense interrogations he'd ever participated in his 20 years of service. There was a description about Jason being on the ground with his arms wrapped around his mom's legs, crying. What's really important to understand, I think, about Jason's false confession is Jason's background. So Jason grew up with a mother who's a police officer and a father who was in the military. So adherence to orders, following authority, being respectful of authority, trusting authority, were a part of Jason's DNA. The crucial factor in Jason's interrogations was that his mother became involved in it. So not only is this someone that you trusted as a familial connection, but this was a police officer and a mother. It's sort of a double threat for Jason. And he was 19. I mean, he was still just a kid.
This is Jason's room. My son went off to college 2 years ago, and I had been slowly transitioning it for Jason since then. We've gotten little things, underclothes and clothing for him. His crossword puzzles that he enjoys doing, I made sure he had those. And I don't know what he's going to mentally and emotionally go through when he comes out from that side of the wall into his new environment. But it's his own space, and he'll utilize it well. My hope for Jason's future outside and at home, we already have employment lined up for him. His driver's license, now we just have to get him physically out and getting him back into society. I would just like to say to everyone, going through a wrongful conviction, don't lose hope as much as you lose hope. You lose faith, you lose your own way. You can't. Just because you get through the conviction and the sentencing, the fight is really just beginning, and it's going to get worse before it gets better. Just don't lose hope.
Every individual's freedom is so important to me, but knowing Jason and knowing Jackie and being involved with this family for these years, there would be no greater honor than to be a part of Jason's freedom.